Family, warmest welcome back again to the Lovista channel. Thank you so much for coming back. Today on the menu we do have some Cowfoot stew, aka Kotodwestew. This is just one of my favorite stews ever. Please stay tuned while I bring you paradise on your plate. So for my ingredients family, I do have my cow legs or Cowfoot, aka Kotodwe, which have been washed and cleaned thoroughly, and I do have my blendables here. These are the natural spices I'll be using today. We have some rosemary, aniseed, cloves, the seed of the bell peppers, and I do have some 2 Maggi cubes, and these are my hot habanero pepper, garlic, ginger, and some red and golden onions. These are the natural spices that I'll be using. Onions in this stew is very vital, so I went ahead to chop 2 more extra onions, which is the red and the golden ones, and some bell peppers, and these are my fresh homemade tomato paste. I have the link here, I will link it for you. I have 6 canned peeled tomatoes, and yeah, I'm going to make a big batch of these stews. I have some small spices, the curry powder, nutmeg, bay leaves, and some salt to taste. I start off by blending all my natural spices: ginger, garlic, rosemary, cloves, onions, and my Maggi shrimp. So yes, with the exception of the habanero pepper, I will do that later on. And I go ahead to put my Cowfoot in the bowl. This is what I'll be cooking first. So I grab my blended spices and then just pour about 4 to 5 tablespoons of these beautiful and great sauce, and I add a pinch of salt to it. Add about 2 cups of water. This takes a little while for it to cook, and I especially want my Cowfoot to be very tender. I don't want it that hard, and yeah, it will need lots of time in the cooking process. I allowed it to cook for 30 minutes, and I came to check on it, and it looked quite tender, but I'm going to let it simmer and slowly cook for another 10 minutes so that I can get the perfect tenderness that I'm going for. After 10 minutes I checked, and yes, it was perfectly cooked, so I'm going to take them out. And this stock right here is really very important, so I will just take the Cowfoot and leave the stock for later. You will see what I'm going to do with it. That is going to help me cook my stew. Really very important. So always check that you don't lose too much of the water, because you really need that. For the stew process, so I add my habanero pepper to the remaining blended natural spices, and yeah, I blended that one as well, and yeah, I put it in the bowl, and yeah, I'm about to start the stew. But I also go ahead to drain all that tomato juice that it has. When it comes in this cans, it has a lot of juice, and I do not need that. I want the stew cooking process to be a lot faster, so I drain all that juice from it. And yes, that juice can also be used in your soups if you want. I normally also use it in my pasta. Some of the pasta sauce, it's always a bagging. You get to drain your tomato juice and use the juice for something else, which is not bad at all. So yeah, I finished draining it, and it is time for us to start our stew process. Yes, let's just get started. In my pan, I add my vegetable cooking oil. I'm going to make a really big batch, and it's going to last for quite a while. The oil is quite warm. I just throw in my chopped red and golden onions. Yes, I have those round shaped onions, which is going to come in later on together with the bell peppers. So I just start with the ones that are squared chopped like this. So once it's fried a little bit, I just go ahead to add my natural blended spices. These include the habanero pepper. Yes, it's all put together, and I allow it to fry for 10 minutes, and you see how uniform it has been. Yeah, together with the chopped onions, it's looking really good and golden. Yeah, if you can see that. After that, I just go ahead to add my tomato puree, which is homemade. Please do well to check on that video. I had to link it up here, so just click on it and watch. It really make your stew process really fast, and I'm really in love with it. I do that quite often. This was the second batch that I did, and this was the last that I had at home, and it really hurts. I have to do another one. Really good. So it has been blended well together. You add your curry. I always tell you, family, that tomatoes and curry are just the best combo. Tomato puree is homemade. It doesn't need to cook too much. I just allow it to cook for just 3 minutes, and I go ahead to add my chopped canned tomatoes, which I've drained the juices out. Yes, just there, and allow it to simmer a little bit. But just before you cook it, please make sure you add the stock that you got from cooking your cow foot. Really very important. This is going to make the cooking, the stew process go fast and very tasty as well. It's going to add a lot of flavor to it. Once everything is properly mixed, you just cover it and allow it to cook through for the next 10 to 15 minutes, and please make sure it is not at the highest heat to avoid the bottom of your pot from burning. Okay, so within 5 minutes you come and check, and you realize that you are literally losing some of the water content from your stew. So I just allow it to cook again for 10 minutes, and I go ahead to fry my cow feet or cow leg. Yes, normally I'll fry it in oil, but with this fantastic amazing air fryer I'm using it, yeah, that is less oil, very healthy as well. So yes, I just fry this for 10 minutes on both sides, and yes, I am done, and it's good to go in my stew. Look at that beautiful color it gave me. Very beautiful. So yes, I go straight to my stew to check it up, and because you drain the tomato juices out of it and you use your homemade tomato paste, your actual stew processing time is going to be really fast. So yes, I go ahead to cover it again for 5 minutes, and I go ahead to add my spices. Yes, here you have to be very careful, because once it loses that water content, that bubbling up, and if care is not taken, you're going to hurt yourself. So please be careful when it gets to this stage. So yeah, I am almost done with my stew. All that I need to do is to add my spices, my curry powder, nutmeg, the rest of the curry powder, the nutmeg, the bay leaves, and all that jazz to it, to let that also simmer and cook through for 5 minutes, and then you add your beautifully fried cow legs. Okay, this is the moment. You allow it to also simmer. At this point, your stew is done. Yes, it is really done. So you just have to lower your heat and allow your meat to also have its fair share of all that flavor going on in the stew. It is amazing. Smells so good, family. You have no idea. So good, family. I was so in love with this stew. And I went ahead to add some vegetables, the ones that I told you about earlier. My red onions, bell peppers. You can go for any color you want, and this is going to make your stew look really beautiful, legit. So good, family. And once everything is mixed together, you allow it to stay on fire for the next 3 minutes on low heat, and I promise you what, your stew is done beautifully. This is akonopa Kotodwe stew on 100. So beautifully done, and it tastes even more amazing. Do not worry about the oil if it's too much. Here I scooped it, and the reason why you need more oil is to let your your stew fry really well. So once everything is done, you can go ahead and scoop all the oil from it, and all that you need is that thick stew and your meat. That is all that you need from this good flavors, fam. And yeah, you can pair this with rice, of course, number one, and some yam if you have. You can even pair with wache, your kwenkwen, any type of rice. It goes really well. So good. So good, family. Look at how beautiful that Kotodwe is looking in that stew. Don't you want to try it? Thank you so much, family, for watching till now. Thank you so much for the amazing support. I am really thankful all the time, and as all the support means so much to me, and I'll always try my best to bring paradise on your plate. Please consider subscribing if this is your first time here, and thank you so much once again. I cannot thank you enough. See you in my next video.